quiet courage to these island shores, on plantations and in town it gave so much and more. Cooking over fire, hands were thin, but in each act of kindness something grew within. Not written in the headlines, not always named, but the life they carried never changed. Brave through the rising and the fall, when the world would call us, not for show or fame, but the steady quiet flame. Oh, BWA, speak your name. When the war clouds gather, empty chairs at home, still they held together though they stood alone. Rolling strength within them, quietly their own, holding faith and family, carrying them through. In the silence of those uncertain days, they found their strength in hidden ways. Brave when the night was long and wide, willing, standing side by side, awesome in the things unseen, in the spaces in between. Oh, what strength you bring. From the kitchen to the council room, from whispered hope to voices that we know, asking gently, let us have our say. And step by step, they found their way. Now they lift the arms, letting dreams to grow. Across the homes we share, their guiding light still shows. Time flows in every gift they share, every act of love, every care. Brave through the years they've always been, willing with the quiet strength within. Awesome now the world can see what they've always meant to be. Oh, WA, your legacy.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Sharon. I'll be your MC this morning. Welcome to Makawao Honganji's Eshin-ni Kakushin-ni's BWA service. Please stand if you're able, and let us begin the service by singing the Vedana Tisarana together both in Pali and English.
Namo tassa exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Now,
Thank you. Please be seated. We'll now sing the Gatha Gasha with Amida, which will be shown on the screens. This will be followed with chanting of quiet meditation. I'm sorry. This will be followed by quiet meditation. Excuse me. It's Sunday.
Namo Amida Butsu. I recite Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I show with Amida trees and grasses and flowers all grow in great compassion. This light shines throughout the world. I show with Amida. Flowers bloom and flowers fall. From the seeds sprout new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I show with Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I show with Amida. When I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. I show with Amida. When I'm lonely, I recite Namo Amida Butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I show with Amida. Nebutsu in work and play. Every day with Amida. gasho with Amida in the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night. I gasho with Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I gasho with Amida. Virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of Let's sit together quietly for a few moments. So just relax and get comfortable. If you're able, sit forward in your seat and place both feet flat on the ground. Now sit up straight and align your head, neck, shoulders, and back in a straight line that goes down to the floor. Place your hands comfortably in your lap. Now close your eyes and just breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. As you breathe in, you feel the energy of this morning filling your body. And as you breathe out, any stress or worries in your mind just fade away. Just breathe. The sound of the gong will signal the end of our quiet meditation.
Everyone is welcome to offer incense at this time, as it is an expression of gratitude for the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Please use any of the 3 incense burners in the front. Mahalo. Thank you very much. Let us all recite the golden chain of love together. Ready, begin. I am a lady
in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world.
I must keep my lane bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that what I do now depends not only on my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo. Please rise if you're able, and we'll sing the Gatha when we see the golden sun. The words will be found on the screen.
Live from Makawao, it's Drama Story Time, starring Barkley the dog and Lucy the ladybug and Baby Dot. Bee-ha! Aloha kako! Ohio gozaimasu. Good morning. Mahalo for coming today. We're truly grateful you could join us. We're truly grateful that you're here. Yes, thank you very much for joining us, for coming to join us this morning. It's wonderful that you could join us. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you very, very much. Oops. Today's story is Sylvester and the Magic Pebble by William Steig. Sylvester and the Magic Pebble by William Steig. This book is dedicated to Maggie, Lucy, and Jenny. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father at Acorn Road in Oatsdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual shape and color. On a rainy Saturday during vacation, he found quite an extraordinary. It was flaming red, shiny, and perfectly round like a marble. As he was studying this remarkable pebble, he began to shiver, probably from excitement, and the rain fell cold on his back. "I wish it would stop raining," he said. To his great surprise, the rain stopped. It didn't stop gradually, as rain usually do. It ceased. The drops vanished on the way down. The clouds disappeared. Everything was dry, and the sun was shining as if the rain had never existed. In all his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish gratified so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work, and he guessed that the magic must be in the remarkable-looking red pebble, where indeed it was. To make a test, he put the pebble. I have a pebble here somewhere. He put the pebble on the ground and said, "I wish it would rain again." Nothing happened. But when he said the same thing, holding the pebble in his hoof, the sky turned black, and there was lightning and a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. What a lucky day this is, thought Sylvester. From now on, I can have anything I want. My father and mother can have anything they want. My relatives, my friends, and anybody at all can have everything anybody wants. He wished the sunshine back in the sky, and he wished a wart on his left hind fetlock would disappear, and it did. And he started home, eager to amaze his father and mother with his magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they wouldn't even believe him at first. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. If he wasn't so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. He could have wished the lion would turn into a butterfly, or a daisy, or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked and he couldn't think carefully. "I wish I were a rock," he said, and it became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffed the rock 100 times, walked around and around it, and went away confused, perplexed, puzzled, and bewildered. "I saw that little donkey as clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy," he muttered. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground. And he was unable to pick it up. "Oh, how I wish I were myself again," he thought. But nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work. But there was nothing he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find a red pebble and to wish that the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find a red pebble. It was so bright and shiny. But what on earth would make them wish a rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor, frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what had happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning. But he didn't, of course. Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their dear son with them. "I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live," said Mrs. Duncan, "no matter what he does." At dawn, they went about inquiring of all of the neighbors. They talked to all the children, the puppies, the kittens, the colt, the piglet. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before yesterday. They went to the police. The police could not find their child. All the dogs in Oatsdale went searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock and tree and blade of grass, and into every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond. found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It didn't smell like Sylvester. After a month of searching of the same places over and over again, and inquiring of the same animals over and over again, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened, and they would probably never see their son again, though all the time he was less than a mile away. They tried to be their best to be happy, to go about their usual ways. But their usual ways included Sylvester, and they were always reminded of him. They were miserable. Life had no meaning for them anymore. Night followed day, and day followed night, over and over again. Sylvester, on the hill, woke up less and less often, and when he was awake, he was hopeless and unhappy. He felt he would be a rock forever, and he tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep. The days became colder, and fall came with the leaves changing color. Then the leaves fell, and the grass bent to the ground. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed. Mostly the animals stayed indoors, living on the food they had stored up. One day, a wolf sat on the rock that was Sylvester and howled because he was hungry. Then the snows melted. The earth warmed up in the spring sun, and things budded. Leaves were on the trees again, and flowers showed their young faces. One day in May, Mr. Duncan insisted that his wife go with him on a picnic. "Let's cheer up," he said. "Let us try to live again and be happy, even though our Sylvester, our angel, is no longer with us." They went to Strawberry Hill. Mrs. Duncan sat down on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester up from his deep winter sleep. How he wanted to shout, "Mother, Father, it's me, Sylvester, I'm right here." But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. He was stone deaf. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly while Mrs. Duncan set out the picnic, food on the rock. Alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad, Timothy compote. Suddenly, Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "What a fantastic pebble!" he exclaimed. Sylvester would have loved it for his collection. He put the pebble on the rock. They sat down to eat. Sylvester now was wide awake. As a donkey, was as wide awake as a rock could be. Mrs. Duncan felt some mysterious excitement. "You know, Father," she said suddenly, "I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not far away." I am, Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he realized the pebble resting on his back was the magic pebble. "Oh, how I wish he were here with us on this lovely May day," said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. "Don't you wish it too, Father?" she said. He looked at her as if to say, "How can you ask such a question?" Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. "I wish I were myself again. I wish I were my real self," thought Sylvester. And in less than an instant, he was. You can imagine the scene that followed: the embraces, the kisses, the questions, the answers, the loving looks, and fond exclamations. When they had eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Someday they might want to use it. But really, for now, what more could they wish for? They all had all that they wanted. The end. And the book has the author's acceptance speech in it. He was awarded the Caldecott Award. And so it explains how he wrote the book and why he wrote the book. And that was the story, Sylvester and the Magic Pillow by William Spade. Hey, wasn't that a great story? You know, wow, I love the idea of a magic pebble that makes all of your wishes come true. Wouldn't that be something? But like many things, and like my grandma always used to say, be careful what you wish for, it might come true. And what part of the story did you like, Barkley, the rascal dog? Yeah, well, I thought it was pretty cool that, you know, you could have anything you want, but oops, he says, I want to be a rock. Hey, don't look at me, man. It's your cue. But Sensei, it's not written on the script. Okay. So, anyway, let's ask Lucy what she thought. Wow, mahalo nui loa for asking, Barkley. I think Sensei's got the wrong version of the script because there's nothing for me to say in here. Okay, so anyway. So be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, because it might come true. Okay, good enough. So remember, everybody, be good. But not too much. Okay. Okay, so I was just going to do a quick introduction about Eshin-ni and Kakushin-ni, and then I will be delighted to introduce our guest speaker. So every year, the BWA sponsors a special service dedicated to Eshin, usually referred to as Eshin-ni, and who's the wife of Shinran, and Kakushin-ni, the daughter of Shinran, to remind us of the role that women have played in ensuring that Buddhism and Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, the Honganji, right, these teachings survived, not only survived, but flourished in Japan and around the world, especially here in Hawaii. Eshin, who's on the left, and the photograph or the illustration there, we know that she was of noble birth, so she was an aristocratic, from an aristocratic land-holding family. She was the first woman to openly marry and have children with a Buddhist priest. Okay, remember, at the time, Buddhist priests are supposed to be monks. They don't get married. They don't have children. It happened a lot. There's historical documentation that showed that the son of the chief priest of the big temple takes over. How does that happen if he's a monk? So anyway, she did it openly. It was quite scandalous. She's the mother of 7 children with Shinran. And later, she returns to Echigo to manage her family estate. So obviously, she was quite capable because she had to return to protect the family assets. In 1921, the letters of Eshin were discovered at the Honzan, at the headquarters temple, and it disproved a very popular academic theory which said Shinran never existed, that he was created, historically, that they just created this image and this story of Shinran, but he never existed. And it wasn't until 1921 when they found these letters that they've had documented evidence. So these letters are very important to us because they're the only insight we have into Shinran as a human being. And so Eshin talks about Shinran for her as a manifestation of the Bodhisattva, that he's up here. She's supported his sharing the Nembutsu teachings throughout his life, even in exile. And so, anyway, it's without Eshin, we wouldn't know anything about Shinran. And then Kakushin, the youngest daughter, who supported Shinran in his final years in Kyoto. So when he was finishing writing all of his academic stuff, she was taking care of him. She was helping him to have a life. She organized the Otani Honbyo, the mausoleum, which you can still visit today. And this becomes the Honganji temple. She creates the Rusushiki, caretaker system, which evolves into the Monshu, chief priest system, which continues today. So, number 25, the younger gentleman on the right in the photograph there, is a direct lineal descendant of Kakushin. Clever girl, right? All of the Monshu, the chief priests, are all her descendants. Yes, it's Shinran through her, but she organized it so that her replacement would be, right, one of her lineal descendants. So all of the chief priests, including number 25, Gomon Shu Kojun, is a direct lineal descendant of Shinran, Eshin, and Kakushin. And I just want to mention that we use the suffix ni, so Eshin-ni, Kakushin-ni. That actually is a reference to being a nun, to being a disciple of the Buddha. So if you're familiar with the old terms, the Buddhist names used to be Shaku-ni something or other. And now we just shorten it to Shaku, so we don't use the gendered suffix anymore. But it actually refers to them that after Shinran dies, they quote-unquote retire and become nuns, and so they live in a monastery. And thus it's a title, it's respected, and you don't cause harm to Buddhist nuns. So that's how it used to work. So anyway, so that's Eshin and Kakushin. And again, without Eshin and Kakushin, there would be no Honganji. There would be no Honganji. And very similarly, without the BWA, without women being active, supporters and drivers of the temples, we wouldn't be here either. So again, that's why we have this day, to remind us that women have played a critical role in the development of Buddhism and Jodo-Shinshu Buddhism and the Honganji in Hawaii. So today we welcome Dr. Miki Tomita Okamoto as our guest speaker for Eshin-ni and Kakushin-ni BWA service. Many of you know that Dr. Miki Tomita Okamoto will be a keynote speaker at next year's World's Buddhist Women's Conference in Honolulu. And if you haven't signed up, sign up now. Sign up today because space is filling up really fast. No, please sign up. But you may not know that Miki's the founder and CEO of Education Incubator, a Hawaii-based nonprofit dedicated to empowering young people, adults, and communities to live with passion and purpose in the service of a better world. Miki focuses her work on placing youth and communities at the center of transforming society's challenges into opportunities for learning, invention, elevating the role of traditional, cultural, and place-based knowledge and practice to the forefront of regenerative society that holds aloha at its core. Miki identifies as a fifth-generation descendant of Japanese settlers in Hawaii, an indigenous ally, a student of traditional healers and practitioners, an entrepreneur, and a maker. Miki has worked as a teacher, a researcher, curriculum developer in private, public, charter, post-high, and informal education for 25 years. She started when she was 6. And she's born and raised on the island of Maui. She's a Maui girl. She has been an active member of Wailuku Honganji since childhood. She's a graduate of Baldwin High School and also has a BSE in Biosystems Engineering from the University of Hawaii, Manoa, and a PhD in education from Stanford University. Miki is also the sole named successor in the aloha practice of the renowned Hawaiian storyteller and cultural practitioner, the late Pono Shin. And she continues the legacy and wisdom of Pono Shin and his teacher, Pilahi Paki, a most important and influential native Hawaiian Buddhist with the entire world. She's accompanied by her path in life by her daughter, Mayumi, and husband, John. So please welcome Dr. Miki Tomita Okamoto.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I can't tell how loud I am, so if I am too loud, let me know. If I'm not loud enough, then also please let me know. And accompanied also by my entire family that's in the back 2 rows, because we're back of the temple people. My dad, Leonard Tomita, grew up in this area. My grandparents, Kyoko and Taro, actually in the Nokotsudo here. And my brother, Leo, and his kids, Nahe and Kamau, and his partner, Kahi, Sherry. My mom, Pat Tomita, is here as well. We're members of Wailuku Honganji. She's an Ohashi. And then my husband and my daughter are also here. So thank you so much for having us. And I'm very excited to share with you some of the other women. This being the BWA Memorial Service, I thought what I might do is continue the story that Reverend Carrie started with introducing you to a few influential Hawaii Buddhist women that really consecrated the place that our Betsuin has in Hawaii. And so I thought I might introduce you to, before I get started, about the deeper meaning of aloha and how aloha for me has helped me to learn more about Jodo Shinshu and the Nembutsu. I thought I would introduce you, you may already know her, to Mary Foster, also known as Mary Mikahala Foster. She is the sister of Victoria Ward. I think a lot of us know the Ward Shopping Center and Ward Village. The Victoria Ward was her sister, and they are pili, or connected to Bernice Pawahi Bishop of Kamehameha School's Bishop Estates, and also were connected with Queen Liliuokalani. In fact, Mary Foster became one of her attendees. And the thing for us, I think, with Hompa Honganji and the Betsue and Mary Foster's role was she actually donated the land and the funding for our Honganji to be built. And so that we exist at Hompa, over half of the land in that campus is from Mary Foster. She also was presented, as the first Native Hawaiian Buddhist, she was presented with a cutting from the original Bodhi tree under which Amida Buddha reached enlightenment. And that Bodhi tree is planted in her garden at her home, which became Foster Botanical Gardens after her passing. And so we share all of that legacy with her on Oahu, a very important legacy that connects to the Bodhi tree, and also to just the support for Buddhism in Hawaii, and knowing that we would not have existed without her gifts. And so I bring her into this space. And I also bring in Queen Liliuokalani. So Lilia Liliu Loloku Walania Kamakaeha, who became Queen Liliuokalani, she actually was not Buddhist, like her attendee Mary Foster is, but upon this was recently, a few years after her overthrow and incarceration, Queen Liliuokalani actually attended one of the first temple services at our Honganji. So in 1901, she attended a service at the Fort Lane Temple before Hompa, the Pali Honganji, was built. And it made national news that that the overthrown Queen of Hawaii was leaving her Washington, her Washington Place residence to attend a Buddhist service that was for Shinran's birthday. And she went with Mary Foster, and that again signaled the acceptance of Japanese. It gave a lot of strength and courage to the Japanese community, particularly to the Japanese Buddhist community, to be able to practice their our beliefs so openly with the consent and the support of our Queen. And so I just wanted to bring those two women in before I introduce you to the third woman who Reverend Carey introduced, which is Pilahi Paki. So Auntie Pilahi Paki, she's born on Maui, she's actually from Lahaina. She was known, during her life, she was a tour guide, many things, kumuhula, she's a singer and a chanter. She also was known as the keeper of the secrets of Hawaii. So she was bestowed that honor when the person who passed before her, he was known as the patriarch of Kona. He called to her upon his deathbed. And the story goes, I have all these stories about her, but the story goes that she was called, she'd never met him in person, but she dreamt of him. And he dreamt of her, and he knew that she was going to be his successor. And so he called her to his deathbed, and gave to her, they say in a single breath. I think that's the metaphor for it. I know it's Ha, the breath of life, but I'm pretty sure he just probably talked at her for about 3 days straight about everything that he knew. But they say like in one breath it all passed, which I'm sure it did, but it was probably a long 3-day long breath that lasted, and he transferred all of his knowledge in chants and in stories and all kinds of different ways to her of his knowledge of aloha. And then Auntie Pilahi gave that gift to the world. She worked with Tanoi Roshi, who was the head Zen priest at Chozenji at the time. And when they set out around the world to pass the message of aloha through the Buddhist community and globally in the 80s. And that eventually also gave birth to the Aloha Spirit Law, which is part of our state constitution. And so there's all this legacy that happens. And the way that I think about this is so important is because when I think about our Buddhist women, the BWA pledge, it shares a lot of the wisdom of the original BWA pledge. And then at the end, there's a line that I always come back to: welcome all with aloha to come as they are to the circle of Namu Amida Butsu. And in the practice of aloha that I have been raised in and learning from my Uncle Pono Shim and his Auntie Pilahi Paki, aloha and Namu Amida Butsu are the same. They're a commitment, they're a practice, they're an embrace of all people. It is a universal language that speaks of compassion and love and kindness and acceptance. And so I'm bringing those two things together today when I talk about what is aloha. So bear with me, because I know that we have limited time and attention in our services. I'm going to try and go through this, and I know it's going to be fast, but I'm sharing with you, this is, I always call this the Kaului Airport poster. So if you go past the, into the Hawaiian Airlines gates, right before you get into the air-conditioned place, which is why I don't think a lot of people see it, because it's not in the air-conditioned spot. It's in the spot outside, which is always hot and humid. It's like across from the bathrooms. There is this poster. It's kind of a big one, and it's blown up. And if you do happen to pass it the next time you go, you'll see that over Uncle Pono's name is like my greasy fingerprints, because I always give him a kiss whenever I come and go. But I feel like I'm the only person that ever like looks at or touches that poster. But this poster defines so many of the different teachings that Auntie Pilahi gave us about aloha. And so in it, it talks about the origin of when she shared in 1970 at the Governor's Conference of the year 2000. It talks about aloha as the principles that she gave. It talks about the HRS 575, which became the Aloha Spirit Law that was lobbied for by Governor Waihe'e, by, at the time, Governor Ariyoshi as well, by Uncle Pono's father, Alvin Shim, who is also from Maui. He's a very famous attorney, a labor attorney. And by Myron Pinky Thompson, my other teacher, and I know Thompson, that's his dad. So a lot of really influential people, they lobbied to have aloha built into our Constitution as the law that governs all. And so this is HRS 575, and it came from Auntie Pilahi. And so the two people that I always want to bring into the room is Auntie Pilahi and Uncle Pono, and I'll share a little bit more about them in a bit. But so Auntie Pilahi taught us that every Hawaiian word, I'm sure it's in all languages, but particularly her knowledge was around Hawaiian meaning, Hawaiian value, Hawaiian symbolism. And what she taught was that every Hawaiian word has at least 3 interpretations. And I think of this as any word. There's the literal translation, where you look at something and like aloha means hello and goodbye. It means love. It means those things, right? It's a very literal translation. And then there's the symbolic, where aloha is like the mist that surrounds us on the mountains. And that's the symbolism of aloha, that it can be like a cloud that wraps everyone without knowing or without caring who is within its embrace. Aloha surrounds us all. And then there's the spiritual, which is the noahuna. And that would be something that's not taught publicly. It was usually taught from priest to priest or from teacher to disciple. But in the 1970s, Hawaii being in such a time of incredible change and anxiety, and there was civil rights movements, there was the Hawaiian Renaissance, there was the bombings that was happening. I'm very active with Kaho'olawe. There was a lot going on there, active with Hokulea, so much tension that many of our spiritual elders decided that they needed to share with the world what they knew about the healing capacity of aloha, and that they couldn't just pass it to only their disciples, that they needed to share it with everyone because the world needs aloha more than ever. And so starting in the 80s, we began to learn from Auntie Pilahi and others about aloha. So she shared with us that aloha is, and she kind of broke it down into, I wouldn't call it an acronym, although some people do, that aloha is akahai, lokahi, olu olu, ha'a and ahunui. And in that, what we mean is that Auntie Pilahi's practice was to, just like when we say the Nembutsu, everything that we give life to through our words, through our breath, comes out of our soul, comes out of our spirit. It has universes of meanings, containers of meanings. And the same with aloha. When we say aloha, we are saying each of these sacred letters and sounds, and it's filled with our breath of life. It's filled with our intentions for the world. It's filled with all the things that we hope and dream to come true. It's filled with all of our hopefully our loving kindness And so we share that aloha is akahai, lokahi, olu olu, ha'aha, and ahonui. And she has translations for those. Akahai is kindness or grace to be expressed with tenderness. Lokahi is unity or unbroken to be expressed with harmony. Olu olu is agreeable or gentle to be expressed with pleasantness. Ha'aha'a is humility to be expressed with modesty, and ahonui is patience to be expressed with perseverance. Now, even at 50 years old, I have a really hard time understanding what those words mean. There are a lot of like aspirational. I think I can kind of understand the definition of it, but I don't really know what it looks like in practice to be agreeable expressed with pleasantness. And so Uncle Pono, who was my teacher, he was given these teachings from Auntie Pilahi when he was 13 years old. And as a teenager, developed what I find more accessible, maybe because I'm like perpetually a middle school student. And so his teachings are much easier for me to understand. And I honor and I'm so grateful that he broke it down for us the way that he did. But the reason why he did it that way is because Auntie Pilahi told him, she took him for a walk when he was 13 years old and said, I'm going to teach you some things about relationships with others. I'm going to teach you and I want you to practice them. But you can't teach them until I tell you to. Right? And so just practice. Practice until I tell you to teach. And so at 13 years old, he started this practice of aloha that she gave him. And it lasted until after she passed away. She came to visit him in a dream state and said, it's time to teach. And that's when I became one of his students in 2010. And so this was a long arc. But in Uncle Pono's aloha practice, let's see. Reverend Carrie, how do I go back? Oh, there. Okay, so what she said is, right, I want you to learn how to think Hawaiian, not speak Hawaiian. I want you to know Hawaiian thought. For if you think Hawaiian, regardless of the language you use, it will be the language of aloha. And aloha is the language that reveals the connection to all people. So in that, what she expressed to him was that aloha is the universal language. It is one where you don't have to be able to speak it, to show it, and to feel it. And so he took on his whole life teaching people about how to practice aloha in a way that didn't need the words, that it was just about the practices. And in that, he actually taught me a lot more about the 6 paramitas and the Eightfold Path, because as soon as he started teaching about the practices, I was like, I know these. Muscle memory tells me that this is what this means. And so his aloha practice was very different. What he came up with after 30 years of practice was ways that he could ask himself at the end of the day, did I do aloha today or not? Did I be aloha today or not? Was I aloha today or not? Right? And what he came up with was akahai means to always leave things better than you find them. Maybe that's places, maybe that's people, maybe it's yourself. So at the end of the day, if you have truly been akahai that day, you can ask yourself, did I leave myself better than I found me? Did I take time for self-care? Did I nurture myself? Did I nurture those around me? Did I nurture the land and the water and the plants and people around me? That is akahai. So very simple ways that you can address each of these. To lokahi is to seek the interconnectedness. Whenever you sense that there was a gap between you and the person next to you, or gap in opinion, a gap in experience, a gap in anything, did you seek instead the connectedness? Did you look for ways that you are similar before you saw the differences? And that is lokahi in practice. And olu olu, I love this, gentle like you're carrying a baby. What he said about olu olu was that it was the ability to make really difficult decisions in the gentlest way possible. So to carry something with such strength that you never drop it, but also never so strong that you crush it. And that it can be that way in all relationships. Strong enough to make hard decisions, but gentle enough to be loving in it. And so that is olu olu practice. And then again, ha'a ha'a, empty yourself so much that you're able to hear the voices of others, so much that your mind might be changed about who and what you believe. That is ha'a ha'a. And then ahonui, this one's so hard. It means to pause. And not pause like just check out and not hear what everybody's saying, but pause as in pause and wait for the right moment to be discerned, like to have discernment in all things. So always be ready for the moment to come. And the riddle in this and the hard part for Uncle Pono was that he realized that the moment might not come in your lifetime, but it does not mean that you are not ready to act. And so we hold that. How do we practice this on a daily basis, being ready for the moment where we have to be the ones to lead or to support or do, even if it's never called upon for us. And so those are all the aloha practice. And then I just wanted to bring us back to some of the Shin Buddhism practices that are on our Hompo Honganji website that talk about what Shin Buddhism is, right? A central practice of Shin Buddhism is the expression of gratitude for our precious lives just as we are, and for those of others just as they are. So again, grace in relationships, seeking connection, realizing someone is already whole when they come to you, and that we need to see them in their wholeness, but also not try to change them so much that they don't get to be their true selves. And when we find ourselves in a situation where someone is that way towards us, we have to be gentle and strong enough to be able to walk away and say, this is not the situation that I want to be in. Like, all of these are aloha practices, right? We lead with generosity, kindness. We lead with interconnectedness. We lead with grace. We lead with kindness. And those are all aloha practices. And we lead with acceptance. And I think that's the biggest thing, to accept all for who they are, how they come to you, however they come to you. And know that we share that moment as fellow travelers for a few steps or for the whole life journey along the Nembutsu path. And so to me, those are all aloha practices as well. And what I sort of think about is, this is another quote by Auntie Fly. So all of that is a definition of aloha, but like she said, it has so many meanings. And this one, when I found this one in her book, Legends of Hawaii Oahu's Yesterday, which is a very rare book, almost out of print, but Uncle Pono gave me his copy. And in his last few days with us in this plane on Earth, he had me reading out loud to him because the cancer that had affected his brain didn't allow him to see anymore. So I read to him out loud. And I kept reading this passage to him over and over again, right? Aloha, as translated and interpreted by my ancestors, is an element of life. It's an element vital and important to daily habits in life. Aloha is the spiritual essence endowed to man in his and her beginning. Aloha is that tiny glow or spark to it in life, which enables man to apply his thoughts and apply his heart to the imagination and emotion of his and her soul. And so aloha is the gift that you are born with. It is the gift that you share with all others throughout their lives. It is the gift that others share with you simply by being in your presence and by reciting the Nembutsu with you. By sitting in this space together, we're all sharing gifts. And so this is us together in this space. And the reason why I think I'm like kind of a crybaby, so I will say that. I always tell everybody, like, everybody has a universe inside. Mine is mostly ocean, and it comes out through my eyeballs. And my family knows it also comes out through my nose. I constantly have a runny nose. So both ways, most of my ocean comes out. But the reason why aloha is so important, right, as a practice, as a value, and for us to be able to see Nembutsu as aloha, right? Our practice here as Shin Buddhists, the reason why Mary Foster, I think, believed in us so much, and the Queen did as well, is because we are a practice of aloha. And what Auntie Pilahi said was that in the 21st century, the world will turn to Hawaii as they search for peace, because Hawaii has the key, and that key is aloha. And so we are all part of that. And then if you want to know more about Uncle Pono, eventually, I also am the founder of Malama Pono Foundation, which is a nonprofit in his honor. But I've taken 4 years to grieve and kind of be, not lazy, but not be ready. So his videos are still at his old site. He was the CEO of Oahu Economic Development Board. So videos, ways to get to know him are on that site, and then eventually it will be on Malama Pono Foundation as well. Yeah, and so that's all I have to share. Sorry, I'm like weepy, but that's me. Thank you so much for that.
Mahalo, mahalo, Dr. Miki Tomito Komodo, for her Dharma message this morning. Do I have it on? Okay. Let us all chant the Metta Sutta, the Loving Kindness Sutra.
May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. May my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my teachers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May strangers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my enemies be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony.
Please rise if you're able and let us sing on the good song, the hymn of gratitude, which will be found on the screen. And this will be followed with the Nembutsu.
Solely saying the Tathagata's name constantly, one should respond with gratitude to the universal vow of great compassion. The words of Shinran Shoni and the collected works of Shinran, volume 171, page 71. This is in the Shoshin. Namo Amida Butsu. The music comes back. Very good. Okay, everyone, please be seated.
Okay, please be seated. Reverend Carey will now lead us in the gratitude meditation.
So once again, we'll sit quietly together for a few moments. So just relax, get comfortable. If you're able, sit forward in your seat and place both feet flat on the ground. Sit up straight, align your head, neck, shoulders, and back in a straight line that goes down to the floor. Place your hands comfortably in your lap. Now close your eyes halfway so that you're looking both outwardly and inwardly. And just breathe. Breathe in And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. As you breathe in, think of something for which you are grateful. And as you breathe out, just say mahalo. Just say thank you, thank you, thank you. Just breathe. The sound of the gong will signal the end of our quiet meditation. Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Mahalo nui loa. Thank you very much to our guest speaker, Dr. Miki Tomito, for sharing the Dharma this morning. And thank you all for joining our service this morning, Dharma Time service. And may your day be filled with aloha. We have some announcements. Okay. Would you like to read it or shall I?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Put on your listening ears. Put on your notes. Okay, May 3rd. Oh, yeah, this is the last Sunday in May. April, sorry. Okay, first Sunday and Dharma School will be held on May 3rd. May 10th will be major service Gotai Shinran birthday with guest speaker Reverend David Fujimoto, Obo Ili Ili Honganji. May 17th, Maui Fujimatsuri at Kaului Honganji. So there'll be no service here at Makawao. Plus, there's a sign up. Okay, Diane has the sign up and she'll bring it up to the hall. We need a count by May 1st. Okay, so you need to make a commitment. Okay, and there's no cost to the attendance. Okay, and May 24th, we're having Dharma School. Reverend Carey will be off island, so it'll be a lay service. And May 31st will be our baccalaureate service. We are honoring 4 seniors this year. And our guest speaker will be Louis Nishikawa. And that's it for May. Are we going to June?
Yep.
Oh, June. Okay, here's June. All right, June 7th, no service. Why? Because we have to set up for the garage sale. And our visitors, you notice that it's kind of spilling out into the social hall, and so there's a lot that's coming up. And if you're available that day, please come out and help. Okay. June 14th, there'll be Dharma Family Service. June 21st, no service because of our garage sale. And including the bazaar will be happening on a Sunday. Yeah. That's right. Okay. Because that's a bazaar day too, right? June 21st. And June 28th, Dharma Family Service. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. Anything else, Sensei? No? Got
I
it?
think that's it.
That's it? Okay. And everyone is, if there's no other announcements, please come in up to the hall and enjoy some talk story time and refreshments. Okay, have a very wonderful week and a safe one too.